I've elected to be more informal because I do want to engage with the students in particular. College is critical. It is probably one of the most important decisions you'll make in your life. It is an investment in your future. Making the right choices, making the right decisions about your major is very important. As I grew up in Winston-Salem, again, I didn't have the resources I thought to go to college. And so I thought basketball was my only way to go to college. So I accepted an opportunity to go play basketball in Ohio, college unseen. Few advisors, people I knew. But again, I made that choice for all the wrong reasons. But ultimately, at the last minute, decided, one, I didn't want to go to Ohio. Second, I didn't want to play basketball. Thirdly, I wanted to study engineering, and this college did not have engineering. So I made the decision 1 month before I was supposed to go off to college and decided to go to North Carolina A&T. Now that fit me well, and has worked out to be the very best decision for me. But I say that because each of you has to make that decision about your future. College creates an opportunity for you to grow, an opportunity for you to find the right surroundings of friendships, majors of choice, and the opportunity to be successful in this new venture that you will be pursuing. So college is an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to be in an environment away from home, making decisions that are most important to you. And I'll leave this presentation. You can have it, you can share it, and engage with it as well. But while you are preparing for your future to learn and to grow, personally and economically, getting a college education enhances your capacity to make a living, to make a healthy, positive, productive living. It also suggests that you have to, it improves your quality of life. It makes you think differently, how you engage people. It helps you engage in society, giving back to your community, being a part of the democratic process, and being a part of it in your own way if you elect to be involved in politics yourself. But it changes the way you see life and yourself in it. And we like to always ask our students, and I want to make sure that I recognize the other college representatives here as well. This is not about A&T, it is about these young people going to college, whether it's Winston-Salem State, Henry County Community College, and all the other possibilities here in Virginia with public-private institutions, outstanding institutions in this community, in this state, or beyond. College is critical, and it does change the projection of your life. It changes who we are. You shouldn't be intimidated, starting with standing up, telling people who you are, owning what your plans are for the future. You're afraid you may not fit in. Be assured that you're no different than the thousands of students who are thinking about college, who are graduating seniors from high school today. 2/3 of our students at A&T, and this is probably true at Winston-Salem State, Virginia State, Virginia Tech, probably not as much, Radford, yes, are first-generation students, meaning you're the very first student to go to college, to get an education. I would imagine that every one of our alums who stood up in here today was a first-generation student. And no one else had gone to college in their families before them. Maybe a sister or brother may be in college, as my brother and sister and I were at college together at A&T. This is my high school. I don't know why they put that in the picture, but this is my high school graduation picture. But 2/3 of my classmates, and that's still true today, were first gen. We call them first gen students because just had no other persons in their families who had gone off to college. My brother and sister and I, again, as I indicated to you, had parents who were not college graduates, and that's true of many of our students. About 20% of our students come to college undecided, have no idea what they want to major in. And that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about trying to be clear about what it is you want to do. Our responsibility is to help you at Radford or Winston State or Patrick Henry Community College, wherever you may be, to help figure that out in your first year. Take away the intimidation. And again, most of our students come from modest backgrounds. Worried about the financial piece, and you're going to have some workshops today to help you think about how you accommodate the financial piece. Remember, I said I was going to go to play basketball because I thought that was the only way I could go to college. Well, that decision was taking me to a university, one, out of state, significantly away from home. Several things concerned me. One is, how would I get back and forth from Ohio to home if my parents couldn't afford to send me to college? And so I decided to make a different choice. They didn't have engineering. And so I really wanted engineering, so I chose an institution that had engineering. Public universities tend to be less expensive than private institutions because public universities are undergirded financially by their state legislatures. And so their tuition and fees tend to be lower. But I wouldn't encourage you necessarily to make a choice of public or private just on the cost of 10, because generally those institutions will assist you with a financial aid package that minimizes the cost. We're one of the lowest cost institutions in the UNC system. And that enables many students to come to our institution where we deploy lots of scholarships and financial aid. Ask those tough questions today. Understand, parents as well, what it takes for your child to go to college and what's the financial implication for you. My parents did not understand what that meant. They were very clear, there's no way we can help you because we don't have the money. We knew that. We understood it, but we didn't let that become the burden or the barrier that kept us from going to college. This is an array of institutions all over America. There are going to be a lot of institutions aggressively recruiting you to come to their institutions. There are. Make sure that there is a great fit for you in that institution. Go visit the institution. You ought to at least walk around that campus and make sure you feel comfortable on that campus. There are enough faculty and staff who look like you that you can go to build friendships with, to get advice, to get counsel. And that they have majors that are critically important to your interests. Don't force fit your interests into the institution or the scholarship that they may be waving at you. Stay true to your interests. Continue to fine-tune that so that it is what you believe it is what you want to do. Ask lots of questions. Don't be bashful and intimidated by that. And I say to our students on a regular basis, If I meet them on the sidewalk or in the dining hall in the residence hall or the dinner function at our home, I'll ask them, first time I see them and every time thereafter, are we still on point? You still want to go to med school? And when you ask those questions, it forces the student to continue to refine their thoughts and to reassess, is this what I want to do? And they become clearer and clearer. And I'll follow that up with a different question. If you want to study engineering, you want to be a biomedical engineer, or you want to be a mechanical engineer, who are you working with during the summer? What's your internship experiences? What are your plans? Have you put a resume together? Has anyone evaluated that resume for you? Does it sell you to those companies that are looking to hire interns on our campus, at Radford, or at Virginia Tech? How are you distinguishing yourself? How do your grades look? You want to go to med school, you got to have great grades. You want to go to law school, you got to have law school grades. So if you tell me you want to go to law school, I assume your grades are in order. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking to the students now. I'm assuming your grades are in order. You want to get an MBA, and that's what you tell me, I don't have to ask about the grades. Now, every now and then, there's an exception. There are aspirations that are inconsistent with performance. Talk and no action, right? Always make sure your performance is aligned with your aspirations. Hard work, commitment. So make sure, there are a lot of options in North Carolina. I could say the same about Virginia. There are lots of options. Community colleges, 4-year institutions in the UNC system, lots of private institutions. Make sure the institutions have reputational brand. Make sure the institutions have strong academic programs that prepare you to do exactly what you've suggested you want to do. And make sure the institution has a track record of sending students to law school, or to med school, or to get an MBA, or to get a job. You want to make sure, if you want to be a teacher, that as a graduate of the institution, graduates of the institution pass the licensure exam. If you want to be a nurse, graduates of the programs are prepared to pass the licensure exam. Ask those kinds of tough questions. Again, does a college have what you're interested in? Ohio Wesleyan didn't have that for me. I was going to make myself commit to accounting just to play basketball, to have tuition to pay for college. No disrespect to accountants. I didn't want to be an accountant. I didn't want to be an accountant, so I had to make a different choice. And it served me well. Do you know any students or alums? Well, I introduced you to some alums. Now, could have been some alums. Are there any other WSSU alums in here? That's one. Ask questions. When you walk on our campus, I want you to talk to students who are already there. They'll stop and talk to you. They really will. They'll give you what's called the skinny about the institution. They really will. They'll either recruit you because they're having a great experience, or they'll tell you, stay as far away from this place as you possibly can. They will. Again, what's the college's reputation? What is the college's reputation? Is it good or bad? Is it a party school? Whatever that means. Do graduates really get jobs? Are they doing well when they get a job? Are they being promoted? Are they advancing in their careers? Are graduates who go off to med school, are they being successful in the med schools they go to, or the law schools, or the dental schools? Are they successful when they finish? Are they happy people? Do they enjoy their experiences? 96% of the graduates of A&T, 10, 15, 20 years out, 96% say they'd come back again. That's a very high percentage of alums who've graduated and have been away from the institution for a long period of time, so they'd come back to the institution again if they had to do over. Ask those kinds of questions. Out-of-state tuition, you're here in Virginia, out-of-state tuition, you go somewhere else outside of Virginia to go to college, tuition is higher for out-of-state students. Typically, it's about 2 times, in some instances 3 times higher. Private institutions are generally 2 to 3 times or 4 times higher cost of tuition than public institutions. Parents, as those decisions have been made. Again, what does it feel like? When I finished A&T and decided to pursue my Ph.D., the first time I'd ever gone to a large public university, I went to Virginia Tech. I drove up with a faculty member one day, long before I started my Ph.D. there. While he was doing other things, I was walking around the campus. A very different feel than A&T at the time. It was big. Very few people who looked like me. Did I feel comfortable? And was it a place I wanted to be? Now, I'm a graduate student now, not an undergraduate student. So I was there for very different reasons. Had to go back for a second visit before I started getting that good feeling. Had to go back for a different visit. And if that's important for you, make the time. You should apply to 2 to 3 institutions. Some students apply to 10, 20, 30, 40 institutions. I think that's a bit obsessive, but 2 or 3 to 5 is reasonable. Have options. You always want to have options. And they should all provide something a little different in terms of size, public or private, but again, in and around areas of interest to you. This first bullet talks about the totality of your career. It's one thing to get a job when you graduate. But are you as smart or smarter than the people you're working with? Are you prepared and confident to be able to grow professionally within that organization? Remember, students, your career is going to be generally over a 30, 35-year period. You don't want to be doing the same thing 10, 15, 20 years into your career. You want to have the evidence. You ought to have the aspiration to be the president of the organization. You ought to have the aspiration to run your own business. You ought to have the aspiration to influence the direction of the organization. Now, I never aspired to be Chancellor of A&T or formerly Winston-Salem State, but my preparation at A&T gave me the confidence and gave me the skills to go on and continue my education, but also to feel confident that I could grow in my career. You want to have evidence that graduates of the institution where you're going prepares graduates to be successful. So you want to explore, you can do that on the website, alums of the institution. What are they doing? Where are they? How are they engaged? Again, a degree that prepares you to do additional study to be successful. We're a fairly large public university. We send some of the nation's largest number of African Americans to med school, law school, dental school, to get Ph.D s, MBAs, etc. Because we're such a large institution, we attract such bright students like you, and we demand the best of you to ensure that you can go off and do the things you want to do. A diploma has to open doors. Education is often referred to as one of the most fundamental civil rights that ensures that you are preparing yourself to be successful in your career, opening doors for you, demanding equal pay for equal work, and assuring opportunities. Some of my very best friends are individuals I met as an undergraduate student. That includes my cousin. The very best experiences you have in your life is during your undergraduate years in college. They really are. You'll meet people from all over the place. You'll grow significantly. It's amazing when students come home from their first year at college, parents can see the difference in the growth, the maturing of their sons and daughters because of their educational experience. You build this network. They become part of your weddings. They're part of the experiences whenever you have your first child. Every time you get a promotion, you want to call your friends and celebrate. That's what college experiences should do for you. And of course, having a college degree lifts your possibilities of the things you see yourself doing in life. They change your trajectory. They do. I interact often because I grew up in Winston-Salem, and I'm so close to Winston-Salem. We see our family in Winston-Salem. I see a lot of my friends that I grew up with. And you can see the differences, and we often talk about the transformative power of education and what it has done for our lives. And so as you make choices, make sure that those choices are going to ensure that you are positioning yourself to make a difference as well.